Good morning, everyone. Great to be with you. Wow, I tend to love every topic that we do, and this one is in a particular way very close to my heart. The title this morning comes from a passage in a gospel in the Bible and is an incredible yet sophisticated revealing of what it means to be on our paths towards wholeness. And I'm going to read the whole passage first and then speak to it. It's Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 through 30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. The words in the invitation are so powerful, I almost don't even want to speak to them myself. So these words are attributed to Jesus. And considering how Jesus is held to be God in form, God incarnate, we can place it as though we're hearing it from God, whether you have that direct faith of it coming from God or not. We can play with the possibility that if God were to speak to us along our path, that we might hear words like this. Words of consolation, words of letting go all the desires, all the ideas that we have about our path, all the ways we hold ourselves responsible, and find rest in just coming close to God. But it leaves you wondering, what could Jesus mean, take my yoke upon you and learn from me? Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. There are many interpretations to this, so I'm not attempting to give a scholarly investigation. I want to give a heart investigation. And what I have experienced in my own relationship with Jesus, whether it has been through presence, visions, ecstasy, or inspirations, is that when that presence happens, it happens in such a way that there is an interpenetration in which everything makes sense. And it's beyond everything even making sense. It's that kind of rest where you're not concerned anymore. You're showing up fully, but you're not concerned because you're so aware that everything is within the divine hands. In our modern spiritual ways, and especially in our Western culture that can be so aggressive, we have these, take your spirituality into your hands. It's all on your shoulders. You take responsibility. And there's something true, right? Psychologically, there's health when you take responsibility for your thoughts, your feelings, your life. But I believe we misunderstand what taking responsibility means. I believe what Jesus is trying to convey is that to take responsibility is to do so by acknowledging ourselves with our dark and light without any shame, blame, or guilt. That might be a perfect invitation in living today. See how you are in your balance of taking responsibility for your life without any shame, blame, or guilt. And where you see the three of those one of the three or all three arise, there is where the inner work of the purification of Lent can come from. What's behind the shame or the blame or the guilt? What is seeking to be touched by this gentle and humble heart of Christ? Jesus says, take your yoke on me and learn that you're a small part of the divine plan, and an important part, but a small part. He comes to these eloquent words, and you will find rest for your souls. Why? Because that yoke is easy. If you read in the lives of any mystics as they evolve closer and closer into wholeness, you will find there is an effortlessness that takes place. That it's not about striving, but it's striving to let go of striving. It's not about effort, but it's allowing yourself to live in the effortlessness. And it happens with great gentleness. Let me read from you a poem from Meister Eckhart. A man born blind can easily deny the magnificence of a vast landscape. He can easily deny all the wonders that he cannot touch, smell, taste, or hear. But one day, the wind will show its kindness and remove the tiny patches that cover your eyes. And you will see God more clearly than you have ever seen yourself. Even in our own blindness, the wind is showing its kindness. The divine is extending its tenderness. The call, like in these words of Jesus, to come not because we're going to be judged, but because we deserve to experience gentleness in our lives. And Jesus' invitation is like a dividing rod between the way we handle ourselves and to the way we are beheld by the divine. Can you see the difference? So these words divide that to say that this way is ineffective and limited, and this way of being beheld in gentleness by the beloved is the only way. And that way gives us the blessing of traveling through life, carrying a yoke that is what? Easy. And a burden that is what? Light. So let's enter into this morning's meditation. And what we're going to do is I'm going to invite you to, this may seem silly, but it will hopefully ripple into your day. You're going to, with your eyes closed, be focusing upon your feet, because Jesus is talking about walking on a path and coming into a place of gentleness. So I invite you to close your eyes and bring your focus down into your feet. And begin by letting your inward gaze regard your feet with tenderness, leading to perhaps a wave of gratitude. And now, using your memory and your imagination, see yourself walking sometime in your history of walking your path. Call up a memory. It could be one when your walking was labored and troubled. It could be one where your walking is sweet and delightful. but bring that memory and observe yourself walking. Regard yourself on your path with an unspoken tenderness. Let it flow from you as it probably flows easily in other directions in your life, towards plants, animals, beloved friends, loved ones. Let that move towards you walking on your path. And now invite or recognize Christ, Christ consciousness, Christ in form to stand beside you or sit beside you this morning. And let that gaze extend to this memory and to you sitting here present. And if this is difficult to sense, simply rest into a trust that it may be happening whether you recognize it or not. And let these words flow from the divine in form that is here present beside you and with us. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And I invite you today to walk, letting your yoke be easy and your burden light. And as we end this devotional, notice that when you take responsibility for your words and your actions and your decisions, do you do so from a place of effortlessness and sweetness and gentleness? Or is there shame or blame or guilt? And if the latter, now is the day to open to the healing For these three dispositions do not help you. They only hinder you in coming into fullness. Great to be with you all. Many blessings upon your day, and I will see you tomorrow.